Hello, my people. Um, Hope you all doing well. Uh, Thank you for coming to our live. So today we're going to do a code review of what we built. That is our DevTracker. And I remember last time we stopped on something of we were doing the authentication with JWT. Now what we're going to do, actually I already worked on the code of stream. So what we're going to do now is take you through how I did the Google authentication. That is the Google Auth. You know, what our aim was to create a secureable backend whereby authentication is very secured, and yeah, that's it. So what we're going to do right now is I will take you through how our code is. So if we can start with this, remember we stopped on the. Let's go to our controllers. What we were working on mostly was this. Yeah, I tried to introduce something that is called OAuth using passport.js, and you know passport.js is just like a framework. It's not a framework though. It's something that we use to incorporate a lot of platforms like GitHub. You can use GitHub for logging in, Facebook, name it, you can name it. So here, I only chose only one. What? I chose one strategy whereby we're using Google for our authentication. In case we want to add other platforms like GitHub, Facebook, and stuff, we can add all those things. Yeah. So here, let me take you a quick through here. So in this code here, we try to use passport.js. So here, for us to use the passport.js, we have to also give it a strategy. So the strategy we're using here is the Google, which is the type of platform we're going to be using to do authentication. So from here, we chose Google. Then we created a new Google strategy. So the Google strategy it takes three things. That is the client ID, the client secret, and the callback URL. So for me, I went and created those things from the Google console. That's where I got what? I got the details that are required so that we can use Google for our authentication. So I actually put them in the env of which I cannot show you guys. So that's why I use the process, the DNV, so that I can just be getting my secret, like things that I don't want to be displayed. You know, hackers can access your things. So yeah. So from here, what we're trying to do, that because this is an async function, we need, because we're using this async, whereby what we're accessing from Google is our profile, right? We're going to be taking our profile. So let me take you through this. So here we're in the documents taken in. Now the profile and the done, these are the ones we're using. These ones I've not used them. So let's go into this try catch. In this try catch, we are creating a user. Let user equals to await. You know, the reason why we use this async is because we have this await here. So let user equals to await user. Await user. So we're trying to create a user in our database. We're trying to create a user in our database. So we have to first check, and what we are going to be pushing there is we have to find a user. So go to our database, find the user. That is what having the auth provider. So this is our auth provider here is what is the Google. Yeah, I made a mistake earlier. I was saying the the strategy is actually called the what? The auth provider. So the auth provider we're using here is Google. You can use GitHub or any other platform that you want. And the OAuth ID, because there's an ID we are going to what? We're going to acquire there. So here, this profile.id, this is the ID that Google gives us. If you already have if you already have if you already have a Google account, so there is an ID that is assigned to you. So what you do here, since we want to find that specific user in our database, what we do is create an instance which is our OAuth provider, OAuth ID. Yes, OAuth ID, and we give it a profile.id. So this is what we are getting from our Google. So we come and check if our user exists. So if the user exists, we check if the user exists or not. So here, if there is no user, so if there is no user, like there is no user of such details or such information in our database, what we do, we try to create a new user. So here we are using user equals to await. We have to await. We have to first to go systematically. So as we're using this await, async await here in JavaScript, async await, it is like something has to be done, then the other one comes after it. You get? So what we're going to do here is we first have to search if the user is there, because here we created a user. So here we come and search user equals to await user dot create. We are creating a new user. That means there is no user in our database. So if there is no user in our database, let's create a new user. So the information we are going to give this user is we give them our OAuth provider, the OAuth provider, which will define which provider did they use exactly. So here, we come and find that we are using Google as our auth provider. Then we assign an ID that we find. This ID is got from Google itself. There's an ID assigned to each and everybody his account. So this one will be found by profile.id. Then we have a name. Our name is the we shall get this name from profile.displayName. That name that you're using on your Google account, this is the name. This is the name that will appear here, and this is the name that we shall take in our database. Yeah. So the email, for us to find the email, we have to do profile.emails. So we're going to take the first in this, because I think it is going to be an array. So when it is an array, we take the first element with index 0, then dot value. You see? So this one alone is going to give us our what? This one alone is going to give us the email that we want. Then what we do, const token. We create a token. So our token here, I created our tokens here, generate token. I created it in this under this util, generate token.js. So the reason why I created it here is because I'm going to be reusing it in what? In other sections of our of our program here. So let me take you through this generate token. So in this generate token, we created a function generate token and we're exporting it, since we're going to be using it in other places. So here we imported JWT, which is the JSON web token. So we imported it so that we can generate a token for ourselves. You know what we talked about tokens in the previous live that we had. So what we do here is return JWT.sign, because we want to create a new JWT for a user. So this one is going to be our, as we said earlier, in a JWT it takes the payload, the expiry time, and our secret. So here we have our payload. All this is our payload, and in our payload we are taking the user's ID, because we're also using MongoDB for our database. Then we are taking the email, and what? And the token version. You know, there is a reason why I use this token version, and I will explain it to you later. So this is our payload. The next thing is what? Our secret. So our secret, we have it in the env, so we have to just use this process.env to access our secret in the env file. So what we also have is the expiry one. Expire, you know, for a token it has to expire at a given time. So here we give it an expiry time. Let's go to our schema. I'll show you how the schema looks like. Let's go to our models, and here in our models we created a schema, right? So our user schema is equals to so in our user schema we have the models. We have the username as our first element there. So it is of type string and required. So this is where the tricky part comes in, because I was also finding some difficulty, but actually I solved the thing. And what we need here is are you seeing this function required? We have required here, then there is a function. This function only runs. Let me give you a quick review of what I'm saying. Actually, like in Google authentication, you know, when we are doing Google authentication, we already have an account, so there is no need for us to enter password again. What is required is our email and what? And the name. So for here, the name is the name required. So what happens here is that we create a function which will return if it is not what? Not this dot or auth provider. So what this line alone means, if it is a normal user, just like we're just logging in with our password and everything, it is required. We require this in our database. But if we're using OAuth, we don't require this. So instead of us repeating our code by creating a new schema or user model for only Google, and again we separate another one for our normal users who will just log in with the passwords and username and everything. So we use this format to what? To reduce our code or reduce repetition in our code. So here we have what? We have email. And email we also put a type required true, because we require what? We require our email. Yes, we require email, and it should be unique. We put unique true. Yes, so we go to our password. Here in our password we have type string required. So here in the password also, this place will also apply, because in our Google Earth, our users will just select their accounts, and already the Google has already taken their password, so there's no need of us again asking for password. So this password is only asked for people who are just logging in as what? As normal users, not with any auth provider. You get? So here the next thing is auth provider. Auth provider here, which is a type of string. Our auth provider can be Google, can be GitHub, can be Facebook, can be anything among the auth providers that are available. So here, what the next thing that we also require is what? Is the auth ID, and the type is a string required. So here, this is where another thing comes in. This return will only return for what is not. So this not this provider, this one, it is only going to be returning this ID. This ID will only be for people who are having what? Google Auth or any auth provider. So it will be returning the auth ID. So we have the token version. Our token version here, by default, we shall assign it to 0. There is a reason why I did that. Yes, so then we export our user model. So where are we again? From here, You already created our so token equals to what? Generate token, and what this is what we are assigning to it. I see when we hover over this, we find the details of what the user is, because we created an instance of it. We created a user here. You see, so the user has all these things that we want. So we are passing this user together with the what? With the token. Yes. So here then we do a done. So if it is successful already, then it will be done, and it will send us a null. Then take these things with it to our front end or something, anywhere where we want to show them later. So here we're going to take the user and the what? And the token. Else we will just break this thing and give an error. So our next thing is called, then from there we need to also create a auth. We need to create the routes for what? For the Google. Here we created it as created the file that is auth.js. Then we also imported these things. So let me come here. From here, what we're going to explain here is we imported the passport.js, because it's what we're using for most of these things here. Then we have the import express. We're importing this express so that we can use the router in our express. So we created the const router equals to express the router. So there is a function called what? A function called router in what? In express. So we're trying to access it by creating a new instance of what? We are creating a router, const router, which is equals to express the router. So here we are on our API that we are going to get. We want to access the Google. We're going to go and access Google on our browser. So here, for us to get the information, it will be router.get. This is a get method. So router.get, then /Google. Then what we want here is also what? Let me give it a slash passport.authenticate. Now, for us to use this, we have to specify which auth provider we're using exactly. So here, the auth provider we're using is Google. It can be anything, as I told you earlier. It can be GitHub, can be Facebook, anything that you want your users to authenticate with. So here, then we want the scope. The scope, this is the information that we are trying to display, like to transport with us also, like to take with us to the whatever we want to take. So this is in the scope. Then in the other route, this route is a callback route, whereby when we are done, we will just have to send what? We will have to send us the Google login successful. Google login successful. So in this it is a route that is router.get /Google/callback. So here the authentication, the password.authenticate, we're using the provider. This is the same as Google, which is the same as Google. Then from this session false, session by default is false here. Then we create because we want to transport our user and the token also through it. So this is why we need this request and response. Then we create a user, const user, right? Const. This const, we are trying to transport the token and the user with us from our we are acquiring it from the request body. So request.user. So after this, if everything is successful, we give it a status code of 200. Then we give it a message saying Google authentication successful. We are going to try this and we see how it is working. So let's run our server. Start. So here, run our server. Let me first enter into the what? Enter into our route. project file that is in backend. So here in our backend, let's do npm start. Yes, so now our server is running. So what we are going to do, I think, let's first test it by creating a user. Let's use our Thunder client for this API steps. Let me use this that I used already. So in the first place, what we want to do is let's first create a new user. So here is going to be sign up API slash. Let's first come to our server here so that we see, because here you have to also put the specific routes that you want in our server here. So it will be app.use. So this is the basic URL that we shall be using, /API/auth. This is only for the auth routes. Then we have the OAuth. The OAuth is where we are signing in with people. So we have the app.use. Then the basic URL is /API/OAuth. Then we imported these routes from up here. We imported them from the OAuth.js. Then we also have the auth routes.js. So these ones will help us to be accessing our routes. Let's continue with what we are doing. So what we want to do here, we need to do auth, yes, /API/auth. That is our endpoint for creating a user and protocol. So here in our JSON, let's create a username of what? Let's send a username. Which name can we use? Jacob, let me use that. Jacob, then we will also give it Jacob at gmail.com. So from here, we need to send this to our what? We need to send this so that we can create a new user called Jacob with an email of Jacob at gmail.com. So another thing is the password. The password which is here. I'll give you a password. Let's give something we can remember. So let's create a new user. We have a new user called Jacob in our database, and this is the message that we get. User created successful. I think we should go and check it in our database. I'm using MongoDB campus for database course. I'm doing it locally. With time, I'll have to push them to what? I'll be using the Atlas, the web version of it. Let's do our connections and I think yes. So if you can see clearly here, we have a new user called what? We have a new user called Jacob. So there's something I need you to double clicked it, that's why it gave me two instances of MongoDB campus. So let's wait for it again. So let's connect. So if we can check, I'm seeing a person with the username what? Jacob. So we have the email, Jacob at Gmail. Then our password which we hashed. So we hashed this password because we don't want to show the password to what? To let nobody, even the people who are managing the system, they shouldn't access somebody's password. Yeah, for security reasons. Someone can be managing the system and they will be seeing a password which is not healthy. Yeah, for our website. Yes, so here we have a token version, which is 0 by default. I'll show you the reason why we're using it. I'll show you the reason why we are using token versions here, why we are giving our tokens versions. Actually, the reason why I'm using token versions here is because there will be a time we need to log out, like if the user logs out, and tokens, they are stateless, so they will only expire if their time comes. So imagine I just want to log out, like already signed in and I want to log out. So what I can do is create another version of this token, which will just differ from the other version that we had earlier. So if the versions of this token is different from the other one, then to kill that token and the user will be able to log out. So that's a simple logic. As a programmer, you need to think. So that is a simple logic that I used from there. So now let's try to log in as our user so that we can access the protected routes. Since I remember we created some protected routes here in our auth in our middleware here. So it was, I think, let me first take you through this. What we did here, we created the function, then it is unasync because there's some few things that we are going to do here. We have the request and the response. We have the next. This next will allow us to go ahead. So here for this we created a try catch block. Try catch blocks are good for error handling. So when we are trying to handle errors, mostly we use try catch because it allows self handling of errors. So what we are going to do here, we check once we create a variable called auth header. So here we create a request body. This is the request.header. So if we find if we find something there's something not disturbing us. Yeah, our OBS was trying to disconnect and stuff. So what we're going to do right now, let's continue. So I was explaining a request.header. So if we find in our headers we find authorization, that means we have created an instance of it here. So here we're trying to check, we're doing checking. If we don't have auth header and we don't have auth header that starts with bearer, because our auth headers they have it starts with the bearer, then the token after it. Then we do we return a response, the status of 401. I think what these codes mean. We have 404, which is the page not found. We have the 400. These are all, anything that has 400, these are bad requests. For 400 is bad request. We have 500, which is the internal server error. Then we also have the 200, which is a success. Because this one is mostly, this is about like good things, but mostly what people face, you don't see the good things. You only see the good things when you're trying to, because everything that's good is obvious. But people try to what? People try to find it hard when they see errors that are bad, like 400, 404, 401. Then this 401 is when there is no authorization. So if we don't see all this, like if our header is not there, that means we should not authorize this person actually. We shouldn't authorize. So 404 is always for 401 is actually for an authorization. So we do that. After that means if we have this, the auth header, we continue ahead, we create what? Const dot header, const token. We now want to create a token. So for us to find the token, we have to auth header with split. We're splitting the space because let me see, let me create a comment here. For auth headers, you'll find something written. What? Then as there, right? Then our token, which can just be the numbers that are like it. So what we want to do, because this is going to be like this auth header, we want to be the having this string. All this is the string, right? So what we're going to do here in this line, it splits. We split this space. We split this space and take the what? That string or that element that is in position what? Position 1. So in an array, or yeah, in an array, things are denoted by what? With how do I say this? Everything has an index. So index, the first element is index 0. The second element is index 1. The third is index 2. So if you want to find the index of an element, it is the size of the element or the number of objects in the array minus 1. Then you'll find the index of that element. So here, if we want to say that there are 2, if there are 2, imagine our array has two elements. So if there are 2, we say the number of the element minus what? Minus 1. You get? Then we shall find what? We shall find the position. 1. Yes. So now if this is 0, this is 1. This is 0, this is 1, right? This is the index 0, this is index 1. So let's go straight. Let's go straight here. So here we want to check this token we created. Is it there? If the token is not there, what do? We create with the status code of one that is of course authorization status code. We give them what? We give them a message saying no token. So that means the token is not there, no token. So what? Authorization denied. We deny them authorization. We don't allow them to access the route. Then we come and check also. Here we have to also create. We have to verify the JWT that we are getting, because I remember we were sending your JWTs after everything. So here we come and verify. Equals to JWT.verify. So what are we verifying here? We are trying to verify the token, and the what? And the secret. Yes, so we verify it. Then we also create a what? We create a user. So for us to create a user here, a user equals to await, we have to await because it's an async here. You know this thing in JavaScript, they go systematically because we're using async, what? Async await. As I told you, two things can happen at the same time. One has to finish, then the other has to follow. And that is what we understand by async await. So we have to create a user. No, we have to find a user. Here we are creating a user. So await user, which is this is our schema, our model user, dot find in our database. We're checking in our database with an ID, whereby verify.id, because there's an ID there. Like each and everybody has an ID in our database. That's how we shall find the user. Because each ID is going to be unique. You can't just access them using the email. Let's access them using their ID because it will give us exactly who we want. So here, if there is no user, what do we do? So if there is no user, we give them an error message saying that what? User not found. Yes, that's if there is no user. So else, that means if there is a user, what do we do? This is now where the what? This is now where our version, like token versions, comes in. So if there is a user, we say user, we try to access the version of the user. We also try, here we are doing also validation. We're trying to compare the version of the token that we have here with the one in our database earlier that we created. So we try to check our token version, user the token version. So if user the token version is not equals to what? To the token version in our what? If user the token version is not equal to the token version that we're getting from this verify here, what do? Return what? You can say token expired or is invalid, because here this message can come as a result of maybe if we enter a token that is expired. Like mostly if we are logging out, once we log out, immediately it will change the version of this token that we have created immediately. So that means once we're logging in again, we have to create a new token for this. So then what we do is we send the request.user equals to our user. Then we have this next is, that means everything is okay. Then we proceed to the next thing. So what we are trying to do here, I remember we were trying to sign in our user. Login a user. Let's do login. The login takes a post. So we know the user is called Jacob. So let's see. For us to login a user, it only takes what? It only takes for login here. What we require to log in a user, the user must enter the following things. That is the email and the password. These are the only two things that we shall be asking from the user so that they can log in. So from there we create a user. We find the user first. We need to compare if the user is there or not. So await user the find, we are finding by email, because in our database we set our email to be unique so that nobody can have the same email. So we are going to find a user by their emails. So if we don't have a user, so if no user, return an error message saying invalid credentials. If there is no user, that means we don't find a user with this email. Invalid credentials. So then here we have to create a match. Const is match equals to await. This is I remember earlier we had to hash our password, because I remember I told you we don't need to expose our password to the admin, so anybody on the platform, because hackers can easily hack our accounts. So here we're trying to compare the password that we have in our database, the password that the user has entered and the password that we have in our database. Then if the things don't match, we tell them invalid credentials. This is a trick. This trick is is also to confuse the hackers or anybody who's trying to hack your your account, because earlier, if you already know your password, you know your email, you know your password, you just know if the email is correct, that means the password is a problem. But for somebody who doesn't know, like who's trying to just guess around, once they see this message, they will get confused. They'll be like, what is happening here? But you who knows that the password is correct, you will have to just go and look on the password thing and change the password and put the right password. Then from there, we have to create a token. And this is the token that we shall send in our. This token will be sent in our front to our client. We shall send this to our client. Then if this is a try, then the catch will have this error, internal server error. Let's go ahead and try to log in and see. Let me say in case our password is wrong. We have invalid credentials. We don't specify exactly which is, because I know me as a user and this is my account. I know that my email is jacob@gmail.com. So that means there is a problem somewhere. If our email is correct, that means our password is not that wrong. So let's go ahead and put our password the right one. So which is so here we have been allowed to to enter. And so we have logged in. We have logged in here. You can even just give it a message saying if everything is correct. Then we also send the message. Send a message. Message said it's a logged in. It's a logged in. Successfully. Right, and there's something separate this with a comma. What's happening here? The comma. No, there's nothing wrong. You expect a comma. Use the login successfully. So let's try it again. Let's try. Let's send it together with our token, right? So let's try to. But anyway, that's not the main problem we're having here. The main issue is, the main thing we're trying to focus on is if the user logs in, what happens. So what happens is that the token is given to us. This token is what we shall be using so that we can access a certain route. Let me say, since we're creating the DevTracker, if the user logs in, we will have now to show them the dashboard, just to show them the dashboard of our platform that we're building. So let's go ahead and copy this URL. Of course, this URL will be in the local storage when we are going to the front end. So here, let's go to our headers. So now this one we're trying to get a route which is protected. So for us to access this route, I gave it a name as the route. This route is called test. So let's say we want to what? Let's clear this. For us to access a route, earlier we told there's a method called there's something called authorization. This authorization, it is the one that takes the two things, that is the bearer and the what and the token. So here we need to say bearer, token. We need to paste our token here. If our token is not there, what happens? Let me say I delete this E from our token. token is invalid. You see? So it will not allow anybody to access that route. It's only for authorized users. So this is where authorization comes. Authorization is different from authentication. Authentication talks about who are you. Authentication talks about who are you exactly. You need to, okay? You need to tell people who you are. So when we talk about the authorization is, are you accepted to access that route? Because you can have many rooms. Like in a company, you can have many rooms, but there are certain rooms that you cannot access, like maybe the manager's room or his office, the manager's office, the HR's office. You can't access all those without their permission. So the permission you can have is maybe have an ID or something, but there are rooms that you can just access. But here, in this platform, we are trying to make sure that anybody who accesses our platform has what is authorized to access. That's why we need to do this authorization thing. So let's say here the token is invalid. That means we don't authorize the person. So let's check if our token is correct. Send. Boom. What do we see here? The message that we gave is welcome. You have been authorized. So you are authorized. So then we send our what? The token. This is the so this is what I was talking about earlier. After if the token is correct, we send this message. So we have a message here, welcome, you have been authorized. Then this is the user which is having the ID, the name of the user, the email and the password. So this is every detail about the user. Are you seeing this? The version, this version that we have here is the version of our token. Imagine you have already accessed and want the user to log out. What do we do? I have the route here called logout, right? Yes, we have already have. So for the logout, that's why we will talk about the version, the token version, whereby we said earlier that the JWT is stateless. So just to what expire. So how long shall we wait for the token to just expire so that we can what? We can log out the user. So what we can do is, that's why we brought that we brought token versioning so that we create a different version just to expire our token. Here, let's log out the user. For the logout will be a post. Of course, you're not getting anything. You just want to access the route and the logout. So what happens here if I send? If I send, the user is logged out already. Of course, most of these interactions we shall see them when the UI is there, but this is just, I'm just creating a backend with APIs that are ready to use, so that when we're in the backend, when we're in the front end, we don't have to stress. We don't have to stress by going back to the backend, back and forth. So here we're trying to create a backend that is like secured and everything. Yeah, it's actually a good way of doing things. So we are already done with the normal login and stuff. So I think the last part of this video is for us to log in using Google. as our authentication. Yes, so I'm going to go to this route. Let me go to this route. Let's go to our browser. Let's say I'm accessing this route. HTTP. Yes, it is actually here. So what we are going to do here is click on it. So this route straight will bring us here. It will bring us so that we can authenticate with what? With actually this route brings us here so that we can authenticate with Google. Yes, because we can add other auth providers later if you want to. So we can just choose any account that we want to use. We use this account, and then boom, it's supposed to send us somewhere. Yes, send us here. I think there's one other somewhere here. Duplicate entry. We have used. I used this before, because now like I don't have the UI where I can first log in that one, then I also what I log it out, then I use it again. So let's try to use a different account. It's not so a different account I'm going to use here is let's use the second one, because I think we don't so here the message we are seeing here is Google login successful. So Google login successful, then we send the user's information, just maybe if we want to access it in our front end. So this is our user, the auth provider is Google, the Google ID. This is the auth ID, that is the one for our Google. Then another thing here is what, if you can see clearly, token version. Our token version by default is what? By default our token version is 0. So I remember there's a user we logged out. So let's go and check in our database. We check this user. It was Jacob. I think it was Jacob. So here what we're going to do, let's refresh this. Here we're going to do I think this is the user we just logged in right now, some few minutes ago. The token version is 0. So are you seeing here? Remember earlier we logged out. We logged out Jacob. So the version, the token version changed. Let me take it to that code where the logic behind it. Where for logout here. See this the logic here is we get this request dot user dot token version. What we want to do is increment it by 1. So we increment it by 1. You get, we have to increase that token version by 1. But by default we know it is what? It is 0. So here for us to log out, we increment this token version by 1. Then what we do is that we try to save it back into our database as we found it there. Then from there we can just give them a message logged out, or maybe you can say user logged out, right? User logged out successfully. Simple as that. So here the token version is different. So that means this person has been logged out, and this even this person I logged the person out earlier. Sorry for the interruption, some call here. I think I'll have to get back to the person after this live. So we're on the point of what? We were here trying to talk about the token versions and stuff. Which I've already explained to you why we are using the token versions. So here the new user we created has the token version of this, and this is the time we created the user I know you can also update. Once you update, it will be updating, but the created time doesn't update, but it is always there, so that you can know. Like sometimes, like you see on YouTube, you find where we say that the okay, to determine the how old the account is. So the created date and the time all is what we shall determine to know how old this account has been. Yeah, so it is always good to always put it there because sometimes you will see who are the old users and stuff. All that can be determined by the created at timestamp. Yeah, I think I think we have gone through all these stuff, and I I'm grateful whoever understood. Just write in the comment there. You can just comment anything you want. Uh, so what we're going to do in the next live? In the next live, we shall be working on our on our UI frontend. We're going to use Next.js for frontend, Next.js tailoring and stuff. So anyway, thank you all for joining my live. You can leave the comment and the comment in the comment section. Subscribe, like, and share. Let other people know what we're doing here. So our goal here is just to build in public, build projects that are useful to people. Anyway, thank you for attending this live, and I hope to see you in the next live.